Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Bikes for Death podcast. As always, my name is Patrick, and I am your host. And on today's episode, back on the podcast is Ulrich Bartholmoes, also known as Uba, who was first on the podcast after winning Tour Divide in 2023. You can go back and listen to that episode if you'd like to. It's episode 152. And on today's episode, he's back at the start line of the 2024 Tour Divide, this time defending his title. But this year, he's also going for a big goal. He is going to be attempting the Triple Crown of Bikepacking. On today's episode, we're going to be diving into his training and preparation, not only for the Tour Divide, but for the Triple Crown at large. And we are going to be following Uba on his journey by doing a podcast after every attempt. So you have all that to look forward to. And I'm going to make this introduction short and sweet because I've got to hop on a plane. My sister's getting married and I'm supposed to be there. So let us get into today's episode. But first, let us take a moment to thank the people that made it possible, starting with our latest batch of patrons. So this week, we would like to thank Garrett Hall and Chase Bodwin for signing up to be sustaining members of the Bikes for Death podcast. We can't produce these episodes without your support, and it is greatly appreciated. So if you appreciate the work over here at Bikes for Death, a great way to support what we're doing is over at patreon.com/Bikes for Death. Now, today's episode is also brought to us by a new event, the Arkansas Graveler, and I've got Scotty Moody here to tell us all about it. All right, everybody. Today, I want to introduce you to Scotty Moody, who's here to tell us about a brand new event in Arkansas that I will be attending later this month. So, Scotty, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Patrick. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to be in Arkansas next month. Or later this month, you've got a really exciting event. So what is it and what can you tell us about this new event of yours?
Yeah, this is the inaugural Arkansas Graveler, and it's set to kick off on June 23rd. It's a 6-day cycling festival across our rural county roads of the natural state. And so it's really emphasizing our state parks, some very cool host communities, our grassrootsy culture like music and local cuisine. And what's unique to this experience is it's 340 miles chopped up into 6 unique days, and cyclists will experience just overwhelming Arkansas hospitality as they make their way across the state.
I'm really excited to come and participate. I have to be honest, I've never done this is essentially like a supported bike tour, right, through Arkansas. Yes. And y'all have events for us, activities for us each day, music, food, I mean, the whole thing. And so it really is exciting because a lot of what I do, you have to carry your tent, and a lot of what you've done, you're carrying all your tent and your repair stuff, and you're completely on your own. And so this gives us an opportunity to do what I always say, one of my taglines is just ride your damn bike. That's all we have to do is ride our bike and enjoy the food and enjoy the scenery. Is that kind of the jam?
Oh, that's absolutely the jam. And, it's fun every now and then to not have to carry everything and to let somebody else do all the logistics for the fun stuff off the bike. And so what we've created here is a very supported bike touring experience that's based all on, mostly on gravel as they're riding across the state of Arkansas.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very excited about it. This will be something new for me, and I'm looking forward to kind of taking the logistical burden off of myself and putting it on y'all, and just enjoying each day. So, Scotty, it's interesting. You can't turn on social media or open up a blog or anything without almost hearing about Arkansas in the cycling community. I'm wondering, you're an Arkansas resident or is an Arkansan?
Arkansan.
You're an Arkansan. That's what it is. I'm a Texan. I know what that is. Anyway, what is it about Arkansas that's so great? I mean, why are we seeing Arkansas cycling just flourish, it seems like?
Arkansas is positioned to provide just a wide spectrum of landscapes. And as a cyclist, you know this. You get to drop deep into a landscape when you go out and explore on your bike. And so for us, it's moody green Ozark forestry all the way to our Delta farmlands. And that's what makes this particular inaugural year so sweet is everyone's going to get to experience the best of all of those worlds. And when you come and ride the Ozarks, it's an adventure. Like you truly feel like you're off the grid, even though you're not terribly far from, resources and convenience. And so it's really an amazing opportunity and a chance to just kind of go back to our grassrootsy purist love of the bike.
I cannot wait. I love Arkansas. Anybody who's been listening to the podcast for any length of time will know that Arkansas is near and dear to my heart for all the reasons that you just mentioned. And the idea of spending 6 days riding bikes, enjoying good company, good food, good music, and everything y'all planned for us, I'm excited. So last question, how many other friends will I be riding with? How many people do y'all have registered this year?
Yeah. So we have 3 categories that we open for this event. One is the 6-day full tour experience that we've been talking about. We also have a category called the mini graveler. We have a final category that's for friends and family of cyclists who want to come in for the adventure part, but not the pedaling part. And those are called non-rider participants. So all in all, we have about 270 6-day cyclists, an extra 40 mini gravelers, we're calling them. And then we have about 20 supportive family and friends who are coming along, driving RVs, driving campers, meeting up with their rider at the end of the day for all the fun stuff off the bike.
Awesome. Well, that sounds super fun. For anyone else who is going, I'm going to be there all 6 days. I'm going to be recording a podcast and sharing my experience at the Arkansas Graveler. So if you see me out there, come say hi. Thanks for coming on, Scotty. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Arkansas. All right.
Yeah, sounds good, my friend. Safe travels here.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, and today's episode is also brought to us by Old Man Mountain Racks. If you've checked out the riders' rigs for this year's 2024 Tour Divide, you're going to see a lot of the Old Man Mountain Racks, both the Elkhorn and the Tour Divide model, and their new axle pack adorning many of the bikes on this year's Tour Divide. And so if you're following along the Tour Divide this year, thinking about taking it on yourself or for any other bikepacking adventure, Old Man Mountain makes amazing products that are Tour Divide tested and ready to take you on any adventure your heart desires. So head over to oldmanmountain.com, check out everything that they have to offer, and if you would like to save 10% on your order, use the coupon code MOUNTAINSORDEATH at checkout. And if you use the affiliate link in the show notes, Bikes for Death gets a little kickback as well. So that's it. The bills have been paid, and now it is time to get to my chat with Uba. But before we do, let's have Miles Arbor kick it off with the Bikes for Death theme song.
You load up your bike, you ride away from home. You could be with your friends or you could be alone. You ride for a day or maybe more. You just love being in the great outdoors. Everything you need is strapped to your bars, including that new pillow you got from Santa Claus. And then you think, oh shit, to yourself. You left that super lightweight tent on the living room shelf. Bikes or death. Bikes or death. Podcast.
Uba, welcome back to the podcast, man. It's a pleasure to be chatting with you on the eve of the Tour Divide, man. How are you feeling?
Yeah, quite good. I arrived yesterday in Banff, where the Tour Divide will start on Friday. The journey here was a bit more interesting, let's say, than I expected. So I flew in to Montreal from Barcelona. My bike got lost there, which can happen on transits. But what worried me a bit was that I was told that the bike is stuck in customs, and that's something. I mean, normally they just lose it somewhere in the transit, but if something which normally doesn't undergo custom inspections gets stuck in customs, then I was like, well, that's interesting because I mean, getting something out of customs can be done in 1 hour or in 1 month. So you never know. But in the end, everything worked out quite well. So the bike came with another flight the next day, and I was able to get to Banff yesterday and yeah, built the bike, set everything up. I had a nice little ride yesterday already, so feeling quite good.
Yeah, yeah, that is wild, man. Nothing like a little bit of drama right before the divide. Uh, did you have any? I saw you put out a message on social media about like, hey, do you know anybody that works for this airline? Like, did you get involved and help move things along, or did their system just flush out your bike naturally?
It flushed it out naturally, let's say it like this. So it was I was thankful that it was not needed to involve anyone and to get more help. But it was again good to see how reactive the community is, and I got some pretty good responses from friends. They said, yeah, I know someone, I met someone last year on a bikepacking trip here and there, and he's working there and can help to figure out. So that's super good and helpful, and gives confidence if you are in a situation like this and basically panicking.
Yeah, I can't imagine what you were going through. All the things that you have, not just the Tour Divide, but we're going to talk about your overall goals for 2024. And you've invested a lot of time and energy into this year. And for it to all hinge on a bike being lost in transport and completely at its disposal is stressful, to say the least, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's, I think most people know, I think most people have heard the news, but you've set lofty goals for this year. And for anybody who hasn't heard the news, why don't you introduce what you're going to be attempting in 2024?
So my plan for this year is doing the Triple Crown Challenge, which means the Tour Divide, the Colorado Trail, the Arizona Trail, all three within the Grand Depart, which is mid-June, mid-August, and mid-October, and all of them this year, so in one calendar year. And so because I thought that's not yet enough, I also wanted to go for the overall record, so the accumulated time of all three events currently is 27 days, 18 hours. And it was set by Jay Petervary in 2015. And I thought it's a nice idea to go for it, even if it's the routes have changed and everything has evolved since then. So it's a bit more tricky to get to this time, but I thought that's only a bit more spice in the challenge, and that's what I want to do and focus on this year.
Yeah, go big or go home, man.
Yeah.
And if you complete it, you will be the first international rider ever to have completed, or is it even attempted, the Triple Crown before?
uh is it like this? I actually I don't know. I haven't thought about it in this focus. I know that most people, I mean, only 19 people overall ever did this Triple Crown challenge to do all the races in 1 year.
Yeah.
So and yeah, most people I know are from the US. Just from a logistical point of view, it's definitely more easy. Um, but actually, I haven't looked at it from this point of view. If there was anyone before, not from the US, who completed it.
Yeah. I don't know 100% either, but I think you might be the first, and maybe the listeners can, if somebody has the atlas, what is it, the almanac of bikepacking history, they can slide into my DMs and let us know. But suffice it to say that it's a whole other level of challenges and logistics and finances as somebody who needs to fly in for each of these races, you know. So it's just it's a big commitment for anybody, but to have to manage life and your job and everything, and also find a way to train, and all the logistical components that come into the Triple Crown. I mean, it's a huge and a lofty goal. It makes me wonder how you've like patched all this together to be able to even, I think that's the reason we don't see many people from outside the US attempting it, because it's logistically demanding, you know, outside of being physically demanding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. My initial idea was to stay in the US between Tour Divide and Colorado, because it's only 6 weeks apart. But in the end, this didn't work out, so I have to go back to Europe, and then we'll come back end of July for Colorado Trail. I think one of my main assets to do this is that I run my own business. So it definitely gets me flexibility to do this kind of things. But it's not only, it has not only like the advantages. It also means that I'm now here in Banff, and while most of the riders that gather here have kind of a vacation prior to Tour Divide start, I have my notebook with me, and I had some meetings for business this morning. So the work gives me the flexibility to do it, but also the work has the demand that I work when I'm actually not racing. So I still need to work till Thursday, till the last day before the divide, and then I have like official 2 weeks of vacation when I don't take the notebook with me. So I will not have my computer on the Tour Divide, but I will ship it with UPS to the finish line. And when I arrive at the finish line, I more or less will immediately, or have immediately, continue to work. So
yeah,
it has advantages, disadvantages, but I've chosen it, and it's I like the combination of both.
yeah. And I can attest to that, because I was at the end of Tour Divide last year at the Hachita Bike Ranch, and true to form, you fired up your notebook almost immediately and were on business calls. I mean, you went from winning the Tour Divide to being on a couch in Hachita, just, you know, really, really focused and really getting after it. Not, there wasn't any, I mean, yeah, you're a serious man, and it probably takes like a lot of dedication and discipline in different arenas to be able to accomplish what you do. I mean, you're trying to run a successful company while also being successful in ultra racing, which is just incredibly challenging. And I got an insight into seeing what that's like, you know, picking you up off of the end of the Tour Divide, and then, you know, after you get a little bit of sleep, you're immediately into work mode.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's impressive, man. It really is impressive, and I think it speaks to like you, and kind of gives an insight into like some of the skill sets that you have as a human that allow you to excel in different arenas in life. And on today's episode, we might unpack some of that a little bit more. But as a starting point, I wanted to get your story from the Atlas Mountain Race before we dig into the Tour Divide and the Triple Crown and all this. I don't know if you've had a chance to tell this story publicly, but it was a really eventful race, to put it mildly. And I wanted you to start at the point where, because I have not heard this story, where you were stuck in a guest house and had to climb out a window with your bike. I just read that. I read that on your blog, and I'm like, I got to hear that story.
Yeah. Yeah, Atlas Mountain Race in February. It was super wild, and it started far before I climbed out of the window with the bike. So the race was actually postponed by 24 hours because of the heavy rain we had in the Atlas Mountains. It was not that the organizers were afraid of the rain itself and that riders could get wet, but the race passes in the first section, it passes like dry riverbeds. And with the amount of rain that came down, it was more in total in one day than the year. So it was a massive amount. And so those dry riverbeds got like massive rivers, and you don't have any chance to detour them. So the route was basically blocked, and it was not possible or too dangerous to cross them. So first we had a 24-hour delay. Then I had, prior to start, stomach issues, which resulted in, I was able to start, but let's say it like this, I visited a toilet the first day more often than normally I do it during a total 4-day race. And then the race went quite well. I was sitting in third position, chasing the head of the race, and after one of the most famous sections, the old colonial road in Morocco, it's like an old from colonial times and about not used road anymore. It's super rugged, it's totally broken, it's super rough, it's hard to ride even on a mountain bike. And I came down there and went into a very small town, and there was a shop. It was shortly before midnight. There was a shop still open, and I went in and bought some stuff, did the resupply, and I asked the owner if there is anyone in the small village who has kind of accommodation. And it was more this communication with hands and feet, because he was not speaking English for sure. We were in the middle of nowhere, and I don't speak any Arabic languages. So, but we had this kind of communication, and in the end, he brought me to the first floor above his shop, and he had, let's say, kind of accommodation there. There was a room with a mattress, and the mattress was literally the most dirty mattress I've ever seen in my life. I'm normally not disgusted by any dirty things I do or I use on bikepacking races, but this was really, it even hit me hard.
I mean, this is coming from the guy who spent 10 hours in a porta potty with two other dudes, like
the porta potty and all the trail side toilets are more like 4-star hotels compared to what I got there. And for this, I paid 20 dirham, which is equivalent to like $2. And you can imagine what you can expect or get for $2 a night. Anyway, I slept there for maybe 2.5, 3 hours, and there were a lot of dogs barking in the neighborhood, so it was not even a good sleep. So I got up again and wanted to leave after something like 3 hours, and then realized that the front door of the building was locked, and it was a massive steel door, and there was no way to escape. And well, I made some noise, but soon I realized that in the building, it's only this first floor where I was. And besides that, it was only storage and like rooms full of crap. And downstairs was the shop. So obviously the owner was not living in the building, but it was only his shop and this storage, or however you call it. So there was nobody besides me in the building tonight, in this night. And so I had to figure out a way how to escape, because it was impossible to open the door. It was like a massive steel door, no way to. And the first floor was something like 4 meters high. So it's nothing you just jump down and run away. So first I was looking for any kind of ropes or something. Didn't found anything, and then I basically ended up climbing out through a door to a balcony, and climbing from the balcony in the first floor to the house next to it, because in front of this house next to it, there was like a container which was like 2 meters high. So you basically had a big step. So step down from the first floor to a container 2 meters, and then step down from this container 2 meters to the street. And so I was climbing at the facade of the buildings, I don't know, maybe at 2 a.m. in the morning, somehow with a bike on my shoulder. It was pretty adventurous. And then I somehow got down my bike on this container, and then I climbed on the facade to this container, and then from this container down. So the overall thing, it didn't took me long. It took me maybe like 15, 20 minutes, I don't know. But still it was super adventurous, and but I was able to continue racing without losing additional time. And I mean, that's one of the most important skills you need in this kind of races. Get out of difficult situations and continue racing.
Yeah. I can only imagine what would have happened if one of the locals saw you climbing on the exterior of the building with a bike on your back, and you not speaking Arabic, trying to discuss, have that conversation of like what you're doing and explain it. That would have been hilarious, and also maybe a little scary and weird and uncomfortable, but what a wild predicament. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least it was obvious that I was breaking out and not breaking in.
Good. You're like, just let me out of here. Then they're going to wonder who had you captive. But all right. Well, yeah. Then what happened? Most people probably will know that you got in an accident like right towards the end of Atlas. So take us through the finish line of that one.
Yeah, then after I escaped the building, I was close to the finish line, and something like 80 kilometers out of the finish, a big group of maybe like, I don't know, 12 dogs or something, they chased me, and then I just continued riding, and then they left, and only one dog was still on my right side, and it was the size of a Labrador, and he looked quite nice and friendly, and he just followed along on my right side, and I thought like, oh, nice company, and he didn't bark and he didn't do anything, so I thought he's just a friendly guy, and at some point he speeded up, and then just immediately turned left. So he ran straight into my front wheel, and I crashed. And I was not riding that fast, but still, it was fast enough. I hit the tarmac quite hard, and yeah, I collected myself and my bike, and was sitting next to the road for a few minutes, and I had some pain in the chest. So after, I don't know, 20 minutes or something, I thought it's probably a broken rib. And I mean, 80 kilometers out of the finish, when you have already ridden 1,250, you don't stop. Well, I don't stop with a broken rib. I mean, you cannot do anything about a broken rib. It's painful, but it's, yeah. Other people finish Tour de France with collarbone, so I thought I could at least give it a try. And with all the adrenaline involved and everything, it was quite manageable to finish the race and to get to the finish line. And I finished the race second, and that was quite good even after the accident. Yeah, then had one or two more nice days in Morocco, flew home, unpacked my bike, did like normal life things like work and stuff. And on the weekend, I went to the hospital just to get an X-ray confirming that my rib is broken, and just to have like, yeah, it's a broken rib. And then things got a little bit crazy because obviously I had no rib broken, but I had a pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung. So my right lung was the size of a fist, and it happens normally if you break ribs, they can pinch the lung, and then it collapses. This is one reason how it could happen, and the other reason is just from a super heavy impact. Then it just collapses, and because of the internal and external pressure, the lung is not able to expand anymore. And what they do in the hospital, they simply they plug you like you plug a tire. They just made a small cut into my chest, and they inserted a tube, and the tube gets the air out, and the lung immediately inflates again and goes back to normal size, and then you are connected to a kind of a vacuum pump for like 2 or 3 days, and not allowed to move too much. And well, I was making jokes about it because I was not running tubeless anymore, but they inserted a tube into my chest, so it was quite
Yeah.
funny. But well, it was funny and serious at the same point. But well, everything recovery went quite well. I had to take it easy for a couple of weeks, but then I was able to return to training and everything like normal.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I mean, that story is very telling, and there's a lot we could unpack there, but that's what part of what I was wondering is how are you healed? How did it impact training? For you, obviously all eyes have been kind of pointing towards the Tour Divide and the Triple Crown. So has this impeded your training in any way, or your health and fitness in any way? Or are you back 100%?
I would even say it was maybe a good interruption, because I got a break that wasn't planned. And when I restarted training, proper training, like maybe beginning of March, mid of March, I soon realized that the build up was way better, and beginning of May, I had way better feeling, and also on the performance testing, I had better values than I had the year before. So I think it was maybe kind of benefit break forced in spring after Atlas, and well, the build up went pretty well, and now I would say I'm back to 110% even.
Oh shit! Watch out. That's amazing. Well, good. I am glad to hear that you're healthy, and I mean that was pretty scary, and could have gone a different direction. So I'm glad you're well, and you're back to even better than before. So that's really good. Let's you talked about training. Let's get into your training for the Tour Divide. One of the things that I think is really interesting as just an observer of the sport is that you are seemingly taking a much more scientific and technological approach to training and fitness than what I'm personally seeing in the bikepacking space. And so, as a starting point, I'm wondering if you could give us a bird's eye view of what your training is inspired by. Like, where are you getting your inspiration? Is it coming from the pro tour of cycling? And who's constructing all your training plans? Like, just give us a kind of an idea of your approach to that.
Well, my approach is mainly inspired by the fact that I love numbers, data, details. It's somehow connected to my job, that I do a lot with numbers and performance measurements and try to measure things in business wherever you can. And find conclusions from data and find measures that you can take then and stuff like this. And I just really like it. And that's why I apply a similar approach to all the work that I do on the bike and on training and stuff. And for sure, it's also inspired by the people I work with. So my coach, John Wakefield, he is working on the team Bora Hansgrohe in the World Tour. So a lot of data analytics with riders' data and stuff like this. So it's a combination of my own interest that I have, and it's a combination of what John and his team brings in, and how they prescribe my training, and how we work through the year and develop the performance and everything. So this is super fun to me, and I have from the business side, I have also some projects with the MIT in Boston, and so there comes in a bit more scientific background and stuff like this, and all together connected. For me, it's just big fun, and that's the main reason why I do it like this. Because I mean, I also know that, especially in the world of unsupported bikepacking, this approach is kind of unique. And to be honest, you don't really need this kind of approach. You don't gain too much advantages out of it, because riding something like Tour Divide is much more dependent on other things than on training. So, I mean, going for the Tour de France and competing with Tadej Pogačar, you better train yourself, goddamn. And but I think on something like Tour Divide, training is important, yes, but there are like 1,000 other things that are more important. So I think most people simply don't invest all the time and all the stuff, at least not to this level of or to this approach of training.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I'm personally enjoying it, and it's been something where I've wondered how long it would take before we saw more athletes in ultra cycling adopting training methods from, the pro tour. And also, I mean, to your point, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of advantages it does give you, because there are so many other metrics and conditions and factors that are taken into consideration in ultra cycling. But you're doing a lot of work, and it's going to be really interesting to see how, I mean, it's already paying off. I think I read on your website you have 16 wins in ultra racing. So, it's already paying off, and it'll just be interesting to see how that continues. Can you give us an overview of what your training program is like? I know we can't go day by day, but just in general, can you give us an idea of like what your training entails?
Yeah. So the training basically looks like a normal training you would also use like for the world tour or something. So there is nothing that I train like 10 or 12-hour days. My average training per day is maybe 3 hours or something. And like really long training sessions that I did the last weeks are 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe not longer. So it's not extensively that I train, I don't know, 5 days a week, 10 hours per day. It's a total opposite. So average is maybe 3 hours, and then I do mostly intervals at threshold, for example, to improve my fat max threshold, so to improve where I can use fat or to get the energy for the muscles. That's the thing you optimize in this kind of racing the most. And for my mountain biking, specifically also a lot of strength training on the bike with low cadence and high torque, or in the gym as well. So that's the most important things. But for example, I don't train sprinting. I don't need it that often.
Yeah. I am waiting for another sprint finish at the end of the Tour Divide, though. I think that would make for a great story and just great dot watching. But in general, you really don't need to train your sprinting for sure. There's a couple things that I saw on Instagram that really stood out to me. There's one picture in particular that I love, that you look like Bane with the mask on, and you're hooked up to 57 different machines. I'm exaggerating for dramatic effect here, people. But this is the lactate accumulation assessment. So what is the lactate accumulation assessment, and how are you utilizing that data to improve your performance, especially like on a race like the Tour Divide?
Well, to sum up in a super simple way to make it easy to understand, you basically I rode 7 minutes at a certain watts, and after 7 minutes it increased by 35 watts. And then after 7 minutes again and again and again. So the lactate step by step builds up until you basically collapse on the bike. And what you measure is the lactate. So you take a bit of blood from the ear and measure the lactate, and you also measure the mask is for the breathing, to analyze the breathing and the gases, and you measure the power and the heart rate, and then you get different graphs that you can visualize. And I do this kind of testing something like 4 to 5 times a year, and what I then can do is basically see the development between the tests, and see the improvements, and see the overall improvements. And what it helps me for something like Tour Divide is to determine exactly the zones I need to train in and where I need to ride to, as I said, maximize and optimize my body to use fat as a source of energy. And if you train in this specific zones, you can make them bigger, so the body is able to use the fat for energy production for a longer time till who needs the carbohydrates. And also the whole metabolism is optimized so to get more, so in simple words, get more power of any kind of food. And that's for sure for something like Tour Divide, where resupply is limited, and you cannot use sports nutrition, because I mean you would need a fucking trailer to carry all the bars and gels for 14 days, and I'm sure your stomach wouldn't like it. To live 14 days from jails, so it's super important to train the whole body to make most out of the energy he gets provided, and then also super important during Tour Divide, at least for the first days, to ride in the exact zone and not spend too much time in the red zone, to just to know what your body and your muscles are capable of, because it's a long ride, and you need to focus on making the best out of the performance you have available.
Is this test and training that you did something that you also did leading up to 2023 Tour Divide, or is this something new that you've? Yeah.
No, I do it. I do it since a couple of years, and that's also the benefit that I can compare the years, and that's what I said at the beginning. I would even say that I'm in a way better shape than I was last year.
Why is that? Is your training just adapting and getting better as well? Are you getting physically? I mean, you're physically developing. Like, what is contributing there?
It's a whole ecosystem of different. You cannot find the one and only reason, but you have like different puzzle pieces that add up to it. For example, within the last half a year, I changed my day-to-day sleeping. I focus much more on going to bed at more or less the same time. Yeah, and get the same amount of sleep every night, which is beneficial for recovery. And on recovery in the last month, and it has positive impact on the overall performance development as well. And we also adapted the training schedule a bit. We changed it a bit from last year and tried something new, and obviously it's working good. So there is not the one thing you can do, but it's a big puzzle, and it's also a bit trial and error, because it's a super individual thing, and you have to simply try your personal way, and you see the results only after a couple of weeks or month. You don't see it like you don't sleep one night and see the effect immediately afterwards. It's more a long-term development, but that it's worth the effort. It's good to see, and it gives confidence for the Divide start.
Yeah, and also, I mean, in terms of being able to see the impact of all that training, I would assume that it requires you to actually go and push yourself on a Tour Divide or on an Atlas mountain race, and like, okay, this is where that's the playing field. That's a proving field, and so you can feel good in training and you can feel great going up to it. But what matters is that you feel good for that week or that 2 week period, right?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah. So I mean, I can see how this is very exciting to put all these pieces together. It's a big puzzle. It's a biological puzzle. It's a mental puzzle. It's a logistical puzzle, and trying to optimize for every single category and at every single level. And then answering the question, okay, how does that end in a result and a performance, Are you frozen?
Can you hear me again?
Yep, I can hear you. You're sideways.
I tried to fix this. No.
There you go. Do you remember where we were at? I completely lost my train of thought.
Me as well, because I was focusing on getting back.
All right. Well, due to technical error, we got cut off and neither of us remember where we were at. So moving on, I was about to, I know we were concluding up the training aspect and, and that is very interesting. There's a lot to unpack there, but, you got a lot to do to get ready to get on the Tour Divide and not just chat with me all day. So we're going to skip ahead and jump right into the Tour Divide. So what's your goal for this year? I mean, you won last year. I think you were 4.5 hours off of Mike Hall's time. And in our last episode, we had a conversation about FKTs and the different routes and how they've changed. So people can kind of go back and listen to that one if they want to. But what are your goals for Tour Divide 2024?
Yeah, so this year it's totally different because it's one puzzle piece out of three. So it's even more important for me to finish, because Triple Crown Challenge is the project only succeeds if I finish all three races. So there is no option to fail. So I have to make it to the finish. Well, that's always my goal, but it becomes a bit more important in this one because of the two other races that are following. So it's really big focus on getting to the finish line. And damn, I'm a competitive racer, so I want to do it fast.
God damn.
Of trying
You cut out again. You said I'm a competitive racer. I want to do it fast, and then you cut out.
Yeah, and sure, I want to get to the finish line first, and well, I won it last year, so it would be cool to repeat this as well. And I think the competition this year with Justinas and with Laurens ten Dam and Alex Schultz, it will for sure help to keep me going. And also I changed my mind for the whole record time thing last year. I was basically chasing an existing record and thinking about the differences in the route before and now. This year I have a totally different view on this, and I think it's natural that the route changes over the years, and this year were 3 new sections introduced that will not make the race faster. They will make it even more slow, at least by a couple of hours. So I don't really aim to compare anymore to what Mike Hall did back in 2016. I simply think it's possible to set something new and just let Mike's record be the legacy and let it be for eternity on the route he used. And my goal is simply put out a new best time for the new route. And to keep it simple, just let it be faster than the 13 days and 22 hours on the old route. So then it's simple. It's just faster no matter the route.
Yeah, yeah, I like that, and it's a beautiful way to honor my call. So for you, when you're thinking about goals, this is what I was curious about. You have a layered goal with Tour Divide between wanting to go fast and also wanting to complete it so you can also complete the Triple Crown. Which goal takes precedence?
The finishing it.
Yeah.
So to be super honest, when everything goes wrong and I have like a major technical incident or whatever, I don't know. I would even go, I don't know, rent a car, go by car to the next town, fix the bike, just use a whole day to fix it. I don't know, whatever. Go back to the route and continue riding. Even if it means, I don't know, I finish in 16 days, whatever. But the thing is to finish it.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
and I have a flight to catch, so I still need to hurry, even if I take a day off the route.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I would assume that you're going to prioritize the Triple Crown, but it's going to be interesting once you're out there in the field and having to potentially make those decisions. What part of the Tour Divide are you the most excited about? You haven't been back you were here last year. What are you the most looking forward to out there on the Tour Divide this year?
Colorado.
The whole state.
It's simple.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I really liked it last year. Maybe it was also because we had the first 7 days we had only rain, and Colorado was the first where the weather got nice, and in general I like the high alpine areas and the high mountains. So this was really beautiful, and the weather was super nice. So this is the part I have the best, the most excited memory about it, and that's what I'm looking forward the most. But maybe also other parts of the route, if the conditions are better this year weather-wise. Maybe Montana is even beautiful if it doesn't rain.
Yeah, absolutely. How are the conditions looking this year? I mean, last year was obviously tough weather conditions. How do they look this year?
Yeah, the weather conditions. I mean, you cannot really predict it because it's 14 days. You never know. Currently here in Canada, there is a bit more, and on the high mountains as well, there is a bit more snow, because the spring was not that warm like last year. So especially in the beginning, for example, Coco Claims last year was free of snow. This year we probably will find still some snow there, and in the first mountains there's also a lot of water in the Canadian section from the snow melting. So there will be a lot of mud as well. Yeah, then onwards there are some reports that in the high mountains there's Red Meadow Pass still covered in snow. Reports are from last weekend, so there are still 5 days in between. Currently the weather is quite warm. Also in the northern part of the route in the States. So there is still some snow melting, and last reports currently in the south, in New Mexico, south of Colorado, it's quite warm, to say it. I don't know how it develops, but it is like it is, and you have to cope with everything. So let's see and make the best out of it.
Yeah, let's hope you don't spend another 10 hours on a porta potty.
Would be nice.
All right. So looking ahead, Triple Crown is a 3-pronged challenge with 3 different races. So just for the record, you've done Tour Divide once. You have not ever done Arizona Trail or Colorado Trail, correct? So
that's right.
You haven't experienced those 2, but just looking at them on the map, knowing what they are, which course do you think is best suited to your skill sets, and which course are you the most concerned about?
I don't know. I will know afterwards which suited the most. I mean, I know the Tour Divide. It's super long. It's not technical. I did quite well on it last year. Colorado is way shorter, but also technical and hard. And Arizona is a totally different level. It's hot. It's technical. It's a lot of hiking through the Grand Canyon, and that makes the challenge so special to me, because all races have their own facets and engineering, and I will do my best on all 3 of them. But it's hard to say. I have some advantages on all 3 of them, but for sure also disadvantages.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're going to find out, because we didn't touch on it at the beginning of today's episode, but you and I are going to be following your journey at every stage along your Triple Crown attempt. So after Tour Divide, we'll touch base, and then we'll do it again after Colorado Trail and Arizona Trail as well. So it's going to be a fun adventure, and I really appreciate you agreeing to take me and my audience along for the ride, man. It's, I mean, I'm going to be glued to Track Leaders. I absolutely can't wait. I think we're going to have a really great year, and I'm excited for you, man. It's going to be freaking, yeah, it's awesome, dude. I'm just like, I'm like a kid before Christmas, man. This is our Super Bowl, so I'm starting to get excited.
That's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll let you get on to all the other things you need to do to get ready to line up. But I wish you well out there, and I'll be thinking about you and definitely following along.
That's super cool. Yeah, and then catch up in something like 2.5 weeks, ideally.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll chat then, man. Happy trails out there.
Thank you, man.
All right, peace. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and thanks again to Uba for coming on. By now, the Tour Divide is on its way, and we are all watching the dots. And I would like to just extend a happy trails and a good ride to everybody who is out there in the field. We're definitely thinking about you. We're excited for you, and we can't wait to watch your dots. So until next week, you know what to do. Go ride your damn bike.
It was the middle of the night. You grabbed your knife and you held it tight. The sounds of beasts kept you awake. The sounds they made kept you afraid. In the morning, you packed your bike. Memories forgotten from the previous night. You rode faster than ever before. Was it your imagination or merely folklore? Fear turned into strength as you pushed further. Every pedal stroke, stronger and firmer. Your bike feels weightless, your legs aren't tired. You think to yourself, just a few more miles. Bikes, oh death, bikes.